All right, so we have problem type 3 for polynomial long division. Now, before we get started, I do have the correct answer up top, but that's because I wanted to leave the title in this screenshot. There's some things that we want to remember when we are working these types of problems. The big one here is that we need placeholders. And I'm just going to say we need placeholders, but we need placeholders sometimes. What that means is if I put my expressions in descending order, meaning I rewrite them and my exponents are going from greatest to least, if there is a term that's missing, an exponent that was skipped, then I need to put a 0 in that spot. I need a placeholder. I cannot just skip terms. I have to have all of my exponents there. And the reason I'm saying that is if you look at, let's change the color of my pen. If you look at this term here, I have my x squared. I have my constant, but nowhere do I have an x term. And that's not okay with a long division. We need a placeholder. So when we're doing long division, that's going to be the term, the expression that goes on the outside of what we might call our division symbol. If you remember in middle school, I've heard some teachers call it the little house, but whatever works for you. But it's going to go on the outside of that division. So I have 2x squared. I need my placeholder for x. So 0x is, I'm not changing the value. I'm just making this expression look a bit different. So I'm adding 0 there. And then I'm going to add my plus 5. That is on the outside. Now on the inside, I'm going to put my quotient there. So that's going to be my 4x cubed plus 8x squared plus 20x plus 17. And they were really nice. They gave us a expression that had all of our exponents. None were missing. They're in descending order already. And so it was just nice. Now, how do we get started? Let's say you're having trouble here. This looks very complicated. How do we get started? Well, what you need to focus on are these first terms here. And honestly, when I'm first teaching this to students, I literally tell my students to come to the side. And what you have on the inside there, we're gonna divide this, but we're gonna write it as a fraction, as a rational expression. We're going to put that 4x cubed on top of my fraction, and I'm going to put that 2x squared in the denominator. Remember, fractions is just another way of writing your division. But simplify that. If I were to simplify that, what would that give me? 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. If I subtract these exponents, 3 minus 2 leaves me with 1. So 4x cubed divided by 2x squared leaves me with 2x. And that's what I put there. Now, what's my next step? Guys, if you can do this first little process here, the rest of it is just a pattern. You do the same thing over and over again. It's an algorithm. Very cut and dry. You just follow the steps. So what I do next is I multiply this 2x times all of this that's down here. So 2x times 2x squared. And if you have trouble looking at it, do what I did just with this division part. Come over to the side and write 2x times 2x squared. 2 times 2 gives me 4. Remember, when you add like terms, you add your exponents. That's going to give you 4x cubed. So I'm going to write my 4x cubed. 2x times 0x. Well, 2 times 0 gives me 0. So that's going to be plus 0x squared. Remember to add your exponents. X to the first power times x to the first power gives you x squared. And then 2x times 5 gives you 10 plus 10x. Now, people write this different, and it's whatever you like, really. But what I've started doing, I haven't always did this, is I put my minus sign there, but I put it in parentheses to remind me that I am subtracting everything. So I have 4x cubed minus 4x cubed. That's 0. It's gone. I have 8x squared minus 0 squared. So that's going to leave me with 8x squared. I have 20x minus 10x minus a positive 10x. So that leaves me with plus 10x because it's positive 10x. And then you always need to drop down that next term. Okay. So what happens next? Well, now I'm going to look at this first term here, and I'm going to divide it by this first term again. So if you have trouble, come over to the side and divide it again if you need to. And as you can see, the x squares will simplify. 8 divided by 2 is going to leave you with 4. This is going to be plus 4. And again, we are going to multiply like we did in our first step. 4 times 2x squared is going to give us that 8x squared. 4 times 0x is going to give you 0x. 4 times 5 is going to give you a positive 20. And again, just as we did before, I'm going to put it in parentheses. Some folks actually change the sign of everything. Whichever makes you happiest, whichever makes more sense to you, please do that. But for me, I just put a minus sign there. And I subtract 8x squared minus 8x squared. That's going to cancel one another out. 10x minus 0x is going to leave me with 10x. 17 minus a positive 20. 17 minus 20 is going to leave me with a negative 3. And there's no other terms to bring down, so that lets me know I'm finished. I have a remainder. So how do I write this answer? Well, this right here, the 2x plus 4, you're going to write that just the way it is, but you always write your remainder, in this case, it's the 10x minus 3, over that divisor, which is the 2x squared plus 5. And that is your answer.